Whoa, we're back for some Bleach Soul Resonance, and I want to do a little bit of a roundup. How are we doing? How are we doing? How are we doing when it comes to the Hueco Mundo Showdown? We've got about 8 days left on this. I guess about 7 days once you guys are actually seeing this. And I just finished this yesterday, and I was the rank 1 on, I was the rank 1 on Inner Las Noches, I believe it's called, right? Yeah, Las Noches. I was rank 1 over here for a little bit, and I was going to take a picture of that and be like, well, but you know, obviously when you first complete it, no one's really done the, actually done the content. No one's really, gotten to do their thing. So I was like, it's not really worth it. But remember to get this done if you haven't. It is a big suite of rewards here. In total, it's like 800. Let me just check again. Yes, it is 800. That is nothing to gawk at. I mean, that's half a multi, right? If a multi is 1600. If you want to see my, where is it? Strategy prep. Again, this goes back to the previous one, which is grab the percentages. The percentages feel like they're king. I mean, it's just like a multiplicative thing, right? So I did go with this one up top. It says that elite effect, every 2 hits dealt with, it will inflict 25% bonus damage based on the on-field character's attack. As opposed to area effect, each enemy defeated increases damage taken by remaining enemies by 10%. I could see that one being really good. It's just that I was using Kenpachi for this. So I do want to come in here and just say that, like, can I look at the characters in any way? Challenge? No, I can't. Okay, you can see that Aizen, Kenpachi, and Kisuke Yodahara are being used here. I cleared it with my Yoruichi, Nemu, and Komomura at the start, just doing these stages right here, because you do need to deploy 3 strike characters, right? And that is one of the only free-to-play ways to do that, obviously, because there are no limited strike characters. But for the final fight, it seems like the enemies were weak to thrust, weirdly enough, if I'm not crazy. I don't know if I could... I wish I could find it somewhere in here. But it seemed like they were weak to thrust, weirdly enough. But Kenpachi on his own, as well as Aizen, did more than enough damage. You can see I am top 8. Top 8 with only a 2,000 point difference between me and the people above me. I mean, that ain't bad. I'll say that much. Like, you can't see boundaries and stuff, but that is not bad. I'll say that much. Yeah, it looks like most people went with the Kenpachi team on the secondary. Outside of just, there's another Aizen team. That's probably a B4 Aizen or something like that. Outside of the actual clearing of the stage here, you don't need to use the on element one. And for this one here with the strategy prep, I followed a similar sort of basis. The only difference is I could not take this early point. It's 20%. Instead, I took these 20 and 25%, and then I took the 35s out here, right? They just seemed like way better for my buck. Though 120,000, 118,000. Okay. I wonder if I could probably pump that up. I should come back in here and try that final stage again if I'm honest. But I suppose it's not that big of a deal, right? So long as we get the actual points here. Remember, again, I'm just gonna say it again, like, come in here and grab your rewards. It's easy content to do. You can do it completely free to play on either side here. See, it's like 3 thrust characters. There's more than enough thrust characters. 3 strike characters. You get 3 strike characters pretty easily as well. You either have Yoruichi or you have Komomura, but you definitely have one of them, right? Make sure to not miss out on that. Let's take a look at other things. One other thing I wanted to point out, Kaku TV, TVD reports here that, and we actually saw this on their Facebook page, the actual Bleach Soul Resonance Facebook page, but the C and global server for the new verse, accounts are merging. I don't believe this will have anything to do with like our like Crunchyroll handled one. This will be specifically for the SEA and larger like Chinese server and the like, because there's like a separation there, I think. Whereas global, we're just like everyone, I think. I believe that's what's being said. If anyone has any more specific information on that, you can chime in, obviously. But I believe if you're like wondering, oh, I started on SEA, am I going to get to see like You know, am I gonna get to join a guild with like Lone or something? I don't believe so. I think this is just expanding the Asia servers essentially. I think so. I think so. As of recording this video, we've got about 2 days and a few hours. Oops, that is the wrong capture. Ah, my capture. Okay, there we go. As of recording this video, as I was saying, we've had 2 days and 4 hours before the Mayuri banner goes away officially. That means that when this video actually launches in, you know, a few hours, we'll be about a day away from him leaving, right? Because of that, I would like to say that if you are still on the fence about Mayuri, this character does everything you'd want him to do. This character is exceptional. I think that it's hard to replicate his support. I think that the optimal team for Yoruichi and Soi Fon could well be a Mayuri team. I think that's very possible. It's sort of my assumption that Urahara will continue to be like the secondary option. But if you have any sort of ailment at all, I don't know why you wouldn't just bring Mayuri. I mean, he gives more crit damage than Urahara on average. He gives spiritual dissipation. He's just him. Like, I don't even know what to like more to say. I could very well see him being the single best character to bring on the Soi Fon team because she is going to be doing some amount of ailment damage. That would leave Urahara to be on the team with Nalel and maybe Gin, which I could also, again, I could see being an extremely powerful just team. I mean, Gin, Urahara, and Nalel was already just absurdly powerful because Urahara gives essentially a lesser version of the poison that now exists on the floor for Mayuri. So if Mayuri ends up just being the character you pair with Soi Fon and Yoruichi, then, you know, more the merrier type shit, right? Like, I think it's really hard. And this is mostly for people, like, I don't want you to be like, oh my god, I gotta spend my stuff now, like immediately, now that you've said this. But if you have, like, you skipped him and you have like 20,000 jade or something like that, like you skipped completely, you have a bunch of jade, you know, maybe you just started playing so your account's not all there yet, you've been playing every day, you probably have a ton of jade. He's one of those characters that, like, 10,000 jade into Mayuri and his weapon stamp or something, or, you know, the tickets as well. It ain't a bad idea. It certainly ain't a bad idea. I think it's gonna be really, really hard to replace what Mayuri does on these teams, in the same way that it's really, really hard to replace what Nalel does on these teams, and Kisuke and Aizen, and, you know, like I said, I saw people. You know, I watched a Giku video the other day of him talking about the tier list with like Toshido and stuff. I think very highly of Toshido. But I will never move from it just being a supports game, right? That's just going to be my position forever. If you can remember my tier list, let me actually pull the tier list up just to reference. So my previous tier list, which I did before the buffs, I would now move Toshido up here. I'd probably move Gin up here, like if I was ranking DPSs, but I'm not. Support gods are support gods. You don't get to be in the support god like realm if you're not a support. I think that just is how it is, right? But I do think Toshido is now up here. I still don't think that he has as much value as like a the big boy ailment DPSs at low boundaries. But this character is extremely good. If you wanted to say that, like, it looks something like this or something like that, I wouldn't be mad at you. I do think that Gin is far and away just the best DPS because of his synergistic properties with Nalel and Mayuri. But yeah, I'm not really changing the support gods. That's just how it goes, right? That's how I feel about the game genuinely, right? So with that in mind, it comes down to, like, do you care? And if you don't, that's fine. But, like, this isn't something that's replicated well. Like, this 100% crit damage, this poison pool that he puts down, as well as the ailment mastery, as well as the all skill mastery. The poison pool is here that he puts down. Also, it's giving all skill mastery. Also, it's up all the time, so he's giving like 10% all skill mastery. Yeah, Each time a debuff on an enemy is triggered, the crit damage of the one who triggered is increased by 87% up to 100%. Like, what else can you say? I mean, 100% here, 100% crit damage here. Like, I don't know. It's just too much, right? This is terror, by the way. This is the thing being made into 100%, by the way. This is like the terror move. But yeah, it's just too much. It's way too much. This character just does too much. I didn't mean to speak. I don't think he's giving out 200%, by the way. He's not giving out 200%. I just was like reading it over. But and then during battle, teammates other than yourself gain 40%. He's just way too strong. He's way too strong. So if you're someone who values that, then of course I can't say anything but you should pull for Mayuri. He is going away in a day. If Soi Fon is just your chase character, remember that you'll probably have... I don't want to say this. You're going to probably have a weaker team if you only have like a B... Like, let's say B2 Soi Fon does what Nellel does. You'll probably still have a weaker team if you only have B2 Soi Fon. We don't have any confirmation of anything like that, but you will probably just end up having a weaker team. That said, you're still going to be doing a ton of damage. I do think, and this is the last little bit of recap on things I've said before, because the character's going away, and I don't want him to go away without you making a decision. One, you don't need any boundaries for this character. You don't need any dupes for this character. You don't really need weapon dupes. You just need core stamp dupes, if anything, right? The thing I was going to say is that if tomorrow Soi Fon comes out and she gives 80% crit damage by getting boundaries, well, you've got like 90% of a Mayuri, right? As well as a great DPS, right? She's gonna do 1 billion damage. But it's really hard to compare to just having that extra spot. And especially having that extra spot on your teams. Because that means that your Yotahara, again, Yotahara Soul Resonance, who the fuck else is comparing? No one else is here. No one else is good here. That, like, can fill in for what Yotahara and Mayuri does, right? If we're grading the characters just on who is as good as Yotahara and Mayuri, I would, like, no one else is good. No one else is even talked about. But if you're grading them, if you're grading them generally, then it's like, yeah, Rangiku's good. Yeah, Nemo's good. Or Momo's good, rather. Yeah, Yachido's good. Stuff like that. But, yeah. That's why, even if you're not the biggest Sazalapero fan, you're probably going to be in a position where when he comes out, you're like, well, I kind of gotta gab him just because he's probably going to be doing absurd things like Mayuri is. But yeah, that's a little sign off. Again, Mayuri's going away in a day, so it's worth talking about. But that's the video. Like if you like the video, subscribe to the club. We all go make it, and peace.